fashion is definitely going to bring some cause for concern going into game number 2. They also went with something of a gadget composition with the Abathur. It's not the most standard composition that you would see. Does Team Liquid feel rattled? Are they going to try to go for something more easy to pull off, something easier to execute, or will they stick to their guns with some of these picks like Abathur, like Medivh? I guess we're about to find out.
I can't wait to find out, but let's go over to our analyst desk and prepare for game number 2.
Well, 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 we finally see HeroesHearth finding the magic around the Maiev, making several plays to Arthalon, and that looks like the HeroesHearth we normally see in their play.
That it did, and they came out swinging in that game. There was a couple moments where Team Liquid did look like they might be able to sneak it back, but overall, that was HeroesHearth's game.
I absolutely agree. To me, you mentioned it yourself. Arthalon on that Maiev looked absolutely fantastic. In fact, we have a replay to go over that kind of showcases the way that he was setting up the map and, setting up the team fights, in fact. And I just absolutely loved watching him play this hero. So right here, you know, there's nothing too crazy going on. But what happened off of this play is the fact that HeroesHearth were able to get level 20 off of everything that happened here, pick up 2 fortification camps, and get the bottom keep down to about 20% HP, which really helped them set up the rest of the game. If we scrub through here, we've got just normal setup here. We got to keep our eyes onto Arthalon. He's represented on the bottom side, which allows Maiev to find those flanks. You know, in a position like this, Maiev can realistically come in through here. We do see Arthalon right here for now, but as HeroesHearth kind of they play the pacing of this fight a little bit. They let Team Liquid step in a bit. Ishbu, you know, takes a bit of damage. There is the Blessed Shield from Johanna, but continuing to move in is Team Liquid. Nurok also just gets caught out, and look at the members of HeroesHearth here. The positioning from Team Liquid is just absolutely atrocious at this point. The double taunt on the bottom side, big setup here for HeroesHearth, and then they continue to start moving in. Nurok, he gets a massive sleep, but look at his HP off of it. Yes, McIntyre also very, very low, but getting the Void is really important. He ends up going down, but this is the big point that I want to discuss. Like, watch what Arthalon does here. They get the 1-for-1, ends up being a 1-for-2 because Arthalon pushes in, but the big part is he's not done. He's looking to flex those mechanics, drops the cage, gets the tether onto Arcaner. Arcaner gets pulled in again, and that is resulting in another kill. Yes, we're seeing the 18-16 here, but what happens, as I said, 20 gets picked up for HeroesHearth off this play, and it really sets them up to win the game.
I can tell you that when we're sitting over here and we watch that play, we're like, all right, fight's over. Arthalon's like, hold on, not yet. And it was just like full poggers at that point. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, wow, okay, that happened. And that did open up quite a bit for HeroesHearth. Team Liquid, we know they are a resilient team. They are finding themselves down 1 game. Tetcher, what do you think they need to do to kind of bring this back? Was the Abathur maybe not, you know, typical for them? What do we need from them?
We know the Abathur is typical for them. They like those little heroes sneaking them in every now and again, but I don't know if I want them to go more wild or less wild. Like, I don't know if I'm like, I don't know whether I'm just really wanting to see Vikings this tournament, or whether I'm feeling that maybe Team Liquid should just settle it down a bit, go for something like maybe Battlefield if it's still available, and trying to focus that down and just maybe some good team fighting and race comp style.
Let's see where we are going to go and whether it does warrant a potential Vikings composition, and our battleground will be that of Powers of Doom.
Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
The fabled best battleground for a large portion of time for the Lost Vikings, and this is their pick.
Why must they bait me like this?
I mean, it is something that we could see here. Like, it's not even like meme worthy. This could actually show up, and if it does, it would be fantastic. Hasselhoff's on that hero, I think, is one of the better Vikings players in the entire world. So it would be a treat if we got to see that here.
When I've seen this team of HeroesHearth in the past, this is something where Abathur comes to mind for both teams.
Yeah.
Arthalon willing to play anything and everything, but also when it was Maiev City, and basically every time Maiev was let through 3 nerfs, this is where Arthalon started to say, hey, look, I can be one of the best on this hero. I'm just curious, is Liquid willing to let that through the draft again?
Yeah, that's the big question. It's the big question mark. We're going to find out once the draft starts. But to me, that looked like a major playmaker for HeroesHearth. Yeah. Why would you play with that volatility at this point when you are on match and you could be going home? If I were them, not a chance.
Yeah. If Abathur is not banned out in this match, I will be shook.
Yeah.
Just out of how powerful it is on the map in general. Once again, you already mentioned the Maiev as well. That could also be incredibly impactful. Like, right now, I'm just trying to predict the bans before they happen at this point. I definitely think Abathur and Maiev will be one of them because Arthalon wrecked last game.
I do want to say that if they do want to go into that Vikings territory, that you do run the risk of that Zeratul coming out again in the later part of the draft. And we've seen what McIntyre can do once. I don't think you want to see what he can do again against that style of composition.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how these teams decide to draft on this game because it is a very, very important game. You know, if Liquid go down, they're going home.
Yeah.
That's massive.
This would be, Tetcher, your dream of having both Open Division representatives from both Europe and North America making it through to day 2, showing that dreams do come true for those types of teams.
Our dream.
All 3 of our dreams.
There we go.
Is that official? Because you said at the end of last time you're sticking with your guns. You never actually told us what those guns were.
HeroesHearth.
There we go.
Look, I don't want to have bias. I've just been there since the beginning, and I have faith in a team like this because they've shown up. I actually, had a talk with them before this event started, and I was like, I guarantee if you guys could run back mid-season brawl, you probably felt that you could perform better. And BBJ was like, yeah, he's like, we definitely are better than what we've shown. And I think for them, BlizzCon is still the territory they want to enter in, but they also need to show up in later parts of just the Western Clash if you want to make those progressive steps.
They said in the interview they're not here considering themselves the best NA team. They're here still chasing. They're chasing Europe. They're chasing Korea. And unfortunately, in this case, they have been chasing Europe, going down to leftovers. However, they finally started to overtake here with Team Liquid down 0-1.
Well, they overtook Tempo Storm in this first part of Phase 2, and they've also overtaken Tempo Storm by way of Tempo Storm being the first team to go home. HeroesHearth does not want to join them for Team Liquid, though. They had the pristine record, only dropping the 1 and coming in as the number 2 seed. So it's weird to see in the lower part of this bracket that we have our number 1 and number 2 representatives from North America and EU respectively facing off in this. I don't think anybody, if you were to be building brackets, this is not how they would break down. I mean, obviously Leftovers taking down HeroesHearth earlier in the day, I think was his biggest surprise to anybody.
Yeah, especially in fashion in which it happened. It was decisive. Like, it was beautiful watching the Leftovers take down HeroesHearth. Like, it was so good. If you guys haven't watched that series, I definitely suggest checking it out because it was methodical.
My favorite part is Caldor took a nice picture of Mopsio the other day, a big bright smile. Mopsio's having a good time. We saw him during that game, still smiling. He's enjoying. He's like, look, I'm done for the day. I got day 2 to worry about. He's been having a fun time seeing that, and where his rooting lies, we'll find out as this game goes on, as he's sitting here in the crowd joining us, as are several folks as the day has gone on here at the Blizzard Arena.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of other teams who either don't have a match yet or have finished their matches for the day, pipping into the crowd every now and again. And of course, a couple of the big names in the hero scene have also come to hang out here at the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. It's been really cool. And there's still 2 more days of this as well.
We'll be getting underway shortly as we go through. We're going to just be in the game, hopefully momentarily as we get through. Kala, as the day has unfolded, I know we mentioned it earlier when we saw the bracket and this, but is there any teams that you saw at the top that did win or that did lose that maybe stood out to you more so than the others?
I mean, for sure, it was Leftovers versus HeroesHearth. That was a incredible game, incredible series. I have so much respect for that team. You guys know in particular, when we got to do the interviews with that team, their mentality, I actually had a smile on my face almost the entire time. And the fact that, Mopsio joining them, he kind of feels like their dad in some cases. I don't know, call me crazy. But you know what I mean? Like he's like a coach.
Uncle might be better instead of dad.
All right. He's like coaching them through the mentality of saying, this isn't a Zealots run. This is our new thing. Like, this is all us. Like, we don't have to try to replicate that or anything. I just love their mentality moving into the series, and they performed fantastically. And Linked as well. Just, I don't know. He's just a really standout player for me. That's my series.
Do you think that he needs to work on his dab form, though?
I thought it was
straight arms, though.
Well, I mean, I saw a picture out there.
It was a spatially aware dab. When you don't have a lot of room to operate, you have to dab appropriately.
Yeah, backhanding Gilly probably wouldn't have gone over very well.
He would have
it was your side. Yeah. Well, you don't matter as much. So that would have been fine. Link, we'll bring you back up here. Just win again the next time. We'll make sure that Tetcher's up here so we can get that underway. Guys, I just think for this team of HeroesHearth and Team Liquid, as we do still wait for this to come back online, there's just so much. I mean, we're having fun now because we got some time to kill, but for Team Liquid, how would they feel if they were to fall to defeat? Because somebody's heart is being broken today. But for Team Liquid, we've spent a lot of time talking about HeroesHearth. What do we know from Team Liquid traditionally? We know that they've gone through roster swaps. We know that they've gone through changes. Is it going to hurt them as much as it would for HeroesHearth, a team that's been together over a year now?
It's a wonderful question because it's been a year since Team Liquid have actually been able to come to one of these events. So showing up to one and then immediately having to fight tooth and nail in the first round, just going so close to making it through, and then getting knocked out in the lower bracket by HeroesHearth as well. It's a good team. If you're going to go out to someone, that's a good team to go out to, but that's potentially going to be rough, but it could also still be a nice wake-up call. They came in 4th seed. They would, 3rd seed. They could have had that expectation as well.
Well, we're going to see what is up in just a little bit as we are going to go to a quick commercial break as we do get things underway here. So don't go anywhere. We will be back with the conclusion of HeroesHearth and Team Liquid. Welcome back. We appreciate your patience as we work through a minor issue that I believe should be resolved. So we're just waiting a few moments before we do get everybody back into the game to get it underway again. Gentlemen, for a recap, we are heading to Towers of Doom, a map pick by Team Liquid after going down in game number 1. Thoughts on Towers of Doom and how we might see these drafts unfold as we have a moment to talk about the Battleground before we get into the draft.
Towers of Doom, ladies and gentlemen, it's Team Liquid, okay, and HeroesHearth. Both teams very susceptible to that macro style of composition. Perhaps it's an Abathur pick, perhaps it's a ban, Tahaka as well. The Lost Vikings is the big question mark for me, though. That's something that Liquid is very comfortable playing. Whether or not we see it is the big question.
The Lost Vikings, and if not any global. This is potentially, maybe Sky Temple outside of it, but potentially the most global important map. That's why Abathur is so good. Mercenary camp capture is also very important as well, being able to control those, why am I going Impalers? Those Sapper camps in the bot lane. If you're able to dominate the bot lane, then you will have a mint of a time.
It is confirmed that Tencher does spend his time playing custom games on Hanamura, which I believe was removed recently from custom games, but at least we know how you spend your downtime. But Payloads is the brawl this week, by the way.
Why'd you go Hanamura? Sappers,
I thought you said Payload.
He said Impalers.
Yeah. Oh, Impalers, yeah. Impalers, Payloads, you know, something about being British. My favorite thing about Tencher being British is his American accent, which we don't have time for because it's time for Towers of Doom as we get this underway. We appreciate your patience again. And now the ban phase. We will see, does that Abathur become a focus? Does the Dahaka become a focus?
Yep.
One hero in particular. Nobody wants to play on this battleground is Sergeant Hammer.
We're all eager to see the opener here. There's the ban on Abathur for Team Liquid. Of course, Heroes Hearth banning the Sergeant Hammer. I would say this is her best map. I absolutely love her on this map. You set her up with the Decker Kane on the bottom side. Like, you are just having a great time. Heroes Hearth with the second ban. What is it going to be? Dahaka could be the point of focus. Maybe they just say, we're not willing to risk playing against the Lost Vikings and just get rid of it. I don't think we will, but Garrosh instead is the focus. So we're seeing more standardized drafting here, or at least banning.
There's also heroes like Maiev and Genji. Genji's managing to sneak all the way through to this point, usually in those banned spots. So now Team Liquid have to work out their priorities. Which one of those, I would say probably one of those two incredibly deadly assassins do they want to remove? Or maybe, due to Nurok, maybe they prioritize Decker Kane so high that they would rather ban it than see Team Heroes Hearth take it. It's going to be Diablo though.
Does that warrant a first pick Yrel or a first pick Murden? Because that is something with Heroes Hearth having 3 picks before that second ban phase. They can always go back to the Johanna strategy. When we talked to them, we saw them run Johanna Blaze, Johanna Blaze, Johanna Blaze over and over and over again. And they're like, look, everybody just kept letting us run it. So they ran it for about 2 weeks straight, and they realized, look, we got to diversify, we got to mix it up. And the team started to let them have it less and less. But that they can always go back to that. Instead, the Murden has the high priority.
Yrel is so good, but with 2 tanks banned out, if you weren't to pick a tank now, you could put yourself in so much danger potentially. So picking up the Murden right now, he's the safest possible tank to pick, fits with almost every comp. It is a solid pickup here by Heroes Hearth. But now Team Liquid, they have the opportunity for the Yrel if they want. They can pick the Decker Kane if that's the support they want to stick with as well. They've got a pretty reasonable opening. It's going to be Genji that we already mentioned, he slipped through, and the Yrel as well.
Okay, I love this opener from Team Liquid, though. On the Heroes Hearth side, having that Muradin, Ishbu playing this hero, they're going to have that early game aggression that we really do like to see from Heroes Hearth. Perhaps maybe they even dictate the pace of the map. I think that's exactly what Heroes Hearth need to do if they want to try to pick up this next game against Team Liquid. There's the follow-up Dahaka and Phoenix. What a brilliant 1-3 from Heroes Hearth so far. You've got the Global in Dahaka. Honestly, again, one of his better maps. You were talking about how valuable Globals are on this map. I absolutely love this style, and Phoenix as well. Just, you can't really go wrong with him.
You've got Muradin with Thunderburn. He's already going to get those that extra slows, which is going to set up for Phoenix even more. Then they can build into something else if they were able to get their hands on Deckard, which is unlikely. But if they would be able to, then that would be empowerment as well. If not, then even you could stick in a Rhaegar for those extra slows as well. They have options for days. We're going to see Maiev finally gets removed.
Yep.
You already mentioned it. Being able to pull them in sets up for the Phoenix. It would be too scary.
Excellent choice by Team Liquid. I love that Maiev ban. What is this next ban going to be? Jay-How, what do you think here based on what we're seeing?
Well, we clearly need damage from the side of Team Liquid outside of the Genji. The Johanna, the setup, we already mentioned the priority on the tanks. This is your top elite style tanks, which leaves you with what else? Stitches and a Genji sometimes can be counter synergistic. We have seen teams get the hook into a Swift Strike. But then ETC starts to come to mind. ETC in our current meta has had a very difficult time.
Yeah.
We saw a noob earlier today.
Could be a noob or like a... we haven't seen Tyrael in so long.
Who?
Exactly, right?
I mean, it's been also been a very long time since we've seen like Sanctification Dragonblade.
I know, like I see it, and I'm like, I can make some arguments for it, but I don't know if you're willing to play a hero like that at this point. At the same time, Heroes Hearth, you know, you see this Raynor, you see this Stukov. Yeah, exactly. He's completely open at this point. And the fact that Team Liquid elected to go with the Stukov over the Deckard, that's a curious one. But Stukov into Phoenix is a fantastic matchup, that's for certain. I think this is a Deckard for sure.
The Deckard feels so strong. He's hard to dive, especially when he's paired back there with the Phoenix. Obviously, you get that bonus armor. And then Phoenix, yes, we have seen Genji at times, but who you killing? And we see the follow-up. We'll see how easy it is to engage. As the Thrall, the pickup that we know that Heroes Hearth, they do like to play that triple melee at times, and it generally revolves around that Thrall, something very prominent in North America.
So now finally we get to see what the tank is for Team Liquid. Let's count Mosh Pit interrupts. This could be a good way to try and identify it. We see the tongue, we see Muradin, we see isolation. Otherwise, it's the sleep.
Oh!
It's a variant.
Okay.
Shield shatter.
Yep. Somewhere out there, there's a very happy Kendrick Swish.
For the Alliance.
For the Alliance, as everybody knows, that is the hashtag that you should be spamming right now on your social medias. That is the only one. We're going to ignore
hashtag burn the tree!
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to support that style of play. Apparently, people do. I don't know about this. I think I better get out of here. But either way, Varian, we know, has that one-pick kill potential. You can get the taunt, you have that swift strike, but is Jimmy Raynor enough to supplement that extra damage to follow up the style that we get from Varian, traditional Varian play?
The backside, though, we got to consider the fact that you've got a Stukov as well to follow up with those taunts. That's huge playmaking potential, right? From Liquid, it's not just the taunt you have to be careful of. If that taunt lands on a Phoenix, he's going to get silenced up, and he's going to be dead.
Well, speaking of dead, Varian somehow met his fate a long time ago, but he was revived here in the Nexus, and we're going to send it over for game number 2 over to Trixler and to Lauren to see how this Varian works out.
Okay, how great transition there. That was Varian coming out. Shocking.
During the draft, you and I are like, that's easily going to be a new bracket. You have the double stuns, you have the Stukov silence afterwards. I almost forgot Varian was a hero.
Yeah.
When he got picked up, I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to be in for a pretty wild ride. Both of these teams have definitely deviated from what they normally do in terms of their warrior preferences. I like it.
Yeah, Varian, one of these heroes that you have to have a strong momentum with. Whenever you get that taunt, you're going to be trying to force fights, get a couple of kills. I am a little bit curious how it's going to do with the Yorel. Of course, you can go to late game, give your teammate some armor. So I want to see how that interaction is going to occur. But apparently Team Liquid believes in this, as they are putting on potentially their last game of the evening.
Over on the left side, looking to make it to day 2. It's going to be Arthlon on Thrall. Ishbu's playing Murden. BBJ's on Decker Kane. Crone's playing Phoenix. And McIntyre's on Rubber Ducky Dahaka. Give it up for HeroesHearth Esports.
On the right side in the red, Hasselob's on Raynor, Sport Philly on Varian, Arcaner on Genji, Nurok on Stukov, a third on Ural, potentially the last game of the evening. Give it up for Team Liquid.
I really want to see how Varian interacts with the Decker Kane. If the right taunt happens at the beginning of a team fight and there's the silence afterwards, the fight is effectively over. BBJ's positioning is going to be very critical. Ishbu has Murden, has a Stormbolt. We can see some very aggressive play. I love this comp for HGC.
What I like about this composition for Team Liquid, though, is it's not... Oh, hang on here. Lockbuff might be in trouble. He gets locked down with a scroll. He gets hit with the tongue, and HeroesHearth comes out fighting with a kill before 30 seconds.
They are ready. HeroesHearth comes out. They find Raynor and stomp him flatter than an even in death spray. That's exactly how you want to start this off. Crow and BBJ, Ishbu rotate down. Ishbu wrote articles on the idea of anchoring. Watching the rotations, he's a master at this. He's right in his element.
Now, what I'll say about Team Liquid's composition is having Genji in the mix here introduces a little bit more chaos. It's not very front forward, if you would think. Typically, you're playing against a Varian. Okay, you're keeping an eye on Varian, you're watching out for the engage, making sure that when he goes in for his charge, you're able to back up, or of course, assess how you want to go into the fight. But with a Genji poking around and potentially jumping on the back line, that adds an extra element of chaos. And speaking about chaos, HeroesHearth is bringing aggression here on the bottom right as Varian gets picked off. That's going to be 2 kills for HeroesHearth.
Sport Billy finds himself surrounded by blue health bars, and HeroesHearth Esports are happy to give him a little bit of that cultural exchange. He said, out here, we spell color without the U.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a slow Varian setup. He was looking to grab on that bush to make sure they didn't get invaded, but HeroesHearth just beat him to the punch. And you're going to see that with the Murden. Murden is looking for these engages. He loves having those around the sapper camps, especially on this battleground. So Team Liquid will have to play careful around that.
That's going to be something that we might see time and time again. If Murden gets called out like that, he can dwarf toss. If Varian gets spotted, he's like, well, I guess I'm just dead. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, things will get better, and one more level where Team Liquid will have that Varian taunt come online and can start to force the fights as they would like. They did elect to put some pressure on the top line by grabbing the sappers once they saw Varian getting picked off, so Genji helped out Urel there. So breaking in that front wall will be helpful, especially later on if Urel wants to move into Divine Steed, which we've seen on this battleground in the past. Team Liquid will have to decide if they want to go that route. Here's that 4, and we'll find out what exactly is picked up. It is going to be the taunt.
If anything, that decision to go for the camp up top says to me that Team Liquid is continuing to communicate. If a team starts to lose heroes early on, they're likely to be tilted, and sometimes they start to fall silent. But keeping on top of the macro plays, like, all right, we lost Varian here, but quick, go up and get the sapper camp up top. Team Liquid is still very much in this game.
Team Liquid definitely should be. All right, Altars activating. A total of 3 of them set up here. Sport Philly already in the middle of the lane, sharking around. Ishbu is typically not a target that you want to taunt. Arthlock could be one here, but Sport Philly getting locked down, just full CC. He cannot move. HeroesHearth finds a 3rd kill.
Heavy rotations from HeroesHearth Esports paves the way for a quick 3 takedowns right as the first set of altars shows up. You saw Varian go for the taunt on Murden. He's like, all right, I can take this one-on-one fight. And then the root from Thrall to follow up, and you see Crone coming off the bottom screen. It's absolutely going to be curtains.
HeroesHearth to set up to grab 2 of these altars. BBJ already on the bottom. No one going to contest that. Top right, Stukov grabs 1. But this is a situation that European teams have been in before. They do not mind giving up stuff in the early game as long as they stay even on the macro or even get get a lead there. Typically you have a Dahaka floating in there instead of the composition, but here we have a Yorel. They're only slightly behind experience, Team Liquid that is. So they're still definitely in this game, and it's a situation they've been in before.
We're in a pretty unique spot here where HeroesHearth Esports find themselves in a commanding situation. They're head on experience, and normally we see this team playing down a hero tier in terms of takedowns, even down a talent tier for a moment. Is success going to be a trouble for them? They're like, I'm not used to playing like this. We're actually doing pretty good. I like it.
Well, I mean, they lead a lot in North America, right? So I don't think we can go that far. As HeroesHearth is actually set up for a bit of an engage already with the Sapper spawning already. Team Liquid controls the bush, but with 7 quite around the corner, they're going to play as safe as they can. Sport Billy, he's learned his lesson getting picked off a couple times.
Yeah, he needs level 10 before he's really going to be able to serve the role of the frontliner in setup engagements for heroes like Raynor and Genji. Without that, he's just kind of waiting in the wings. The path to level 10 is going to be pretty long. Ishbu continuing to anchor could potentially spot Sport Billy. And the way these team fights have been going, I'm sure they're going to look to engage if they find a chance.
Team Liquid looking to maybe make a power play. They have Yorel floating around here in the middle. She is actually thinking about maybe rotating down. They could attempt to go in for a Sapper camp at 10 seconds, which will be spawning. However, they do have to worry about Dahaka, who can always brush talk in, and is working on pushing that top lane.
Ishbu rotating around on that angry cloud, looking to throw a Stormbolt on whoever he finds. Hazawap is going to try to escort these Sapper camps in. A single altar affair down bottom is going to give us some insight to a full 5v5 team fight. This could be huge.
This is the one altar that Team Liquid needs to make a play around if they're wanting to force something. Not being spread out between 2 is a saving grace for them. They don't have to worry about Dahaka with that global ability floating around for them. If they can position aggressively on this altar, they should be able to start to get a channel. And HeroesHearth so far looks to be responding in kind. They may just give this away. You already have Thrall on the top right with Dahaka looking for a pick on Yorel.
It looks like they're investing more towards the later game. Infernal's going to jump over the wall, and that was a daring escape. Has the well available to sustain themselves. Yorel lives to fight another day. McIntyre and Arthlon lay waste to one tower and try to keep their experience lead intact. The nice drag from McIntyre is going to force out a response from Infernal. He is going to be able to get out of there. They got that altar down bottom without any sort of concept.
And they do have a half a level lead on top of Team Liquid, so they'll be moving towards level 10 on a faster side here. And of course, they'll be moving into spots where they get really strong. Thrall in particular at level 10, that's when he feels like he really comes online, when he gets that Ancestral Wrath finished up with a few stacks, and then of course when he moves into that Earthquake or Sundering. Expecting an Earthquake here, especially with the variant composition coming online, but here's that combo you were looking for. Sport Billy comes in for a taunt, brings out a silence, and they get a kill.
A taunt, a silence later, and that's going to be the first takedown for Team Liquid, showing signs of life before level 10 comes around for HeroesHearth Esports. They need to keep their eye on the minimap and do plays exactly like that to minimize the value out of the Dahaka, but Genji?
Arcaner picked off in the middle lane there between Thrall and Murden. I can only assume that Stormwall actually connected. And typically as a Genji player, you're hoping that you're able to escape that thanks to your small hitbox. Arcaner getting picked off, and HeroesHearth will have their own pick. A total of 4 kills to 1 while they open up the wall on the bottom.
HeroesHearth is a team that loves to scrap and rotate. They're able to prove that time and time again. Level 10 is picked up. Heroics are available for Team Liquid. Another single altar affair now with things like Shield Breaker or like the Protected. We got the Stiff Arm from Stukov. Hardened Defender. This is going to be a different team fight for sure.
Lornado also coming online for Deckard Cain, and I'm a little bit worried for Varian. I call it Arcana Syndrome. When you go into a fight and you're stuck in a fight and you can't get out, this is something that Varian suffered from as well. He goes in for the taunt, and if you can get a Lornado and keep him stuck in that area, you can try and focus him down and take him out. And Nurok will have a hard time saving him because Stukov isn't a hero that just straight up saves somebody from death.
As another Artanis main, I really felt that.
Yeah, you feel that, right?
That one hit home. But the altar is going to be here. Ishbu looking to lead the charge. He's looking to connect the Stormbolt if he can find one. Infernal waiting in the wings, looking for the right opportunity to play House of Pain, jump around. McIntyre hanging out in the bush, seeing if he can drag someone out of position. Not able to do so just yet, but the root goes down. This could be huge.
Team Liquid's trying to get this Earthquake to be popping, maybe trying to go for a disengage or blow up a target, but HeroesHearth gets the engage they want. Mass Salvo comes out. Arcaner goes in with Special Strike, gets damage on Arthalon, but Sport Billy once again the victim for Team Liquid.
Varian again is going to get taken down, and Yorel's going to be the next target with so much attention. There's no way we're going to see her get out of there. So far, anytime the front line of Team Liquid has dared to go for a team fight, they fold like a launch.
That they have. The good news for Team Liquid, still in the game here, it's only 32 to 28 in terms of core shots, but something they have to worry about is that bottom bell tower. It's starting to get to a point where it can be sieged down, especially Sappers pushing in from the bottom lane as HeroesHearth is looking to take that. The moment that's taken away, Raider actually has a pretty difficult time taking that back when you don't have a strong front line, even with them being able to work in those auto attacks. So HeroesHearth wants to take it down.
This bottom all throwing a chopping block and is claimed. There's the root. The Stormbolt's going to connect. Ishbu exits stage left. Crone's going to teleport out of there. Arthlon eating a good amount of damage.
Okay.
Sport Billy's like, I'm here ready to rock and roll. That's going to be a takedown. Eternal on a chase, looking to take the shield down on Crone. A nice Stormbolt. Ishbu perfectly timed. Helps the disengage.
Team Liquid were hoping to find another pick-off, especially with that taunt coming back online again from that cooldown. This should give them a little bit more room to open up the map themselves, though, and they elect to move in for the Sappers to open up the bottom left. After they grab those, they can peel back and finally take back their bell tower. Again, something they cannot allow for HeroesHearth to control for a long duration of time.
That was big for Team Liquid. Getting that takedown now allows them to get that altar a lot more easily than they would otherwise. Control over the bot lane on Towers of Doom is so critically important. HeroesHearth put the screws to Team Liquid and never let go of control of this game. But taking down Thrall there helps them do exactly this and take this altar back.
There's a bell tower, but they have to skedaddle soon. They have to go to the top lane. Dahaka always being a thorn in the side, pushing out that lane if you give them the opportunity. But Team Liquid is moving towards level 13, and with the experience in the middle wave and potentially the bottom wave, they should be able to get that 13 themselves. They actually go for a pick here in the middle left as they go in, but here's that Lord Nado pulling Varian in. He can't do anything. He drops down a shield, but the protection's not enough. Dead, by the way, as he finally gets picked off.
BBJ literally throws the book at Varian, and that's going to be another time Sport Billy can only offer witty commentary as a spectator for the rest of the team fight. Crone leads the charge with Ishbu, looking to get this altar with 2 in the top and the top left and right. This lead is only going to further extend for HeroesHearth Esports.
So they jump up a few more shots. Should be able to get 4 more. Stukov being a little bit cheeky here in the top right corner. Sounds looking for what seems like an eternity. Needs someone to come over and disrupt him, but Eternal protects him as long as he can. But they have bought time. Sport Billy is back, and remember that 13 is looming around the corner.
If they get another interrupt or two, this could very well be an even-tier fight, and Eternal and crew could look to turn things around. Crone's already low on the shield. There's the Arn defender. The root is going to connect on to Sport Billy. Another Lord Nado, isolating Hasuops and Sport Billy for the moment to allow Eternal to be the target of conversation. But without the follow-up, they're not going to be able to get the takedown. And it looks like Team Liquid will be able to come away with this altar.
Earthquake has been used, and HeroesHearth is aware of that. Okay, we used our big heroic, the one that can lock down Team Liquid and all these melees that don't have major escape between Stukov and Varian. Let's just back away. We don't have to risk a team fight. Team Liquid bought some time, and wow, did they pull it off well. You got to call out Nurok and Eternal working together in that top right corner. But HeroesHearth wisely pulling away, and Team Liquid are looking for a fight. They want to get into an engage before Earthquake is up and available again.
They got to use this momentum after getting that altar, and they're looking to do exactly that. He goes in, there's the taunt, and if you've seen Phoenix, I would like to know, he absolutely disappeared off the battleground. The root from Thrall, the stiff arm from Stukov. McIntyre is going to be the next target. Eternal looking to rock and roll. The root goes down for the disengage. Ishbu is going to be able to jump away. That was a huge team fight. That's what Team Liquid were looking for.
A pivotal pick. They needed to get it right before this next altar phase, because the next altar phase is going to be 3. Now, if they could get more out of this, they want to squeeze a little bit more out of this lemon. Can they open up the bottom lane, get the turrets moving forward? Can they get a bell tower? So far, it looks like this is going to be a hard task, but they're definitely going to try. Get the Sappers at least taken away from their opponents, get that pushing in, and maybe find another pick, because they're still a level behind in experience, 15 to 14.
Team Liquid looking to throw their weight around, taking control of the Sapper camp in the bottom left corner, giving HeroesHearth something to do. Sport Billy, he's been losing his life time and time again in the earlier portions of this game, but when he connects those taunts, and Norak, incredible support play all day, getting those silence afterwards, this could be the beginning of game number 3.
Okay, so I'm looking over at Team Liquid here. Half a level behind, altars up in 30 seconds. HeroesHearth should get level 16, but can Team Liquid make a play here for double altars? It feels like it's an impossible task, to be honest. HeroesHearth is already putting pressure on that bottom right bell tower. That means Team Liquid has to respond, but HeroesHearth will just pull away and set up on the bottom altar. This should be only 1 altar grab for Team Liquid, which only gets them 4 shots. Now again, the bank is getting closer to being drawn here. That'll be them down to 16 shots from their core if they give away 2.
HeroesHearth is also right around a corner for level 16. It's going to be that much more difficult for Team Liquid to say anything about any of these altars. Urel looks like they're going to be able to come away with the one in the top right before anyone rotates up there. But 2 altars should handily go over to HeroesHearth Esports, making the boss a pretty interesting moment. But the rotation is in. Could Team Liquid look to try to make something happen?
No, I think they're just delaying here. They're trying to make sure this altar takes a little bit longer to grab, pull everyone up from HeroesHearth. That means they can peel off Urel to another lane, get level 16. They're just trying to soak up. Now, they do need to be wary of a potential boss play, and HeroesHearth is thinking about it, setting up in this top right corner. But Team Liquid, they don't have any tools to really invade that. They should just play it safe. Even if your opponent is there, just let them have the 4 shots, get 16 instead.
Yeah, HeroesHearth have an exact understanding of their situation. They say to Team Liquid, you can come up here and get your cheek clapped if you want, but otherwise we're coming away with 4 points and knocking your core down to 12. Amazing play from HeroesHearth Esports, keeping control over the overall macro. Team Liquid, once they get to level 16, though, they could look the rock.
I hate getting my cheeks clapped. Thanks for bringing that up, man. All right, Sapper's available here in the bottom right corner. Arcana work on the Sapper at the top. So Team Liquid has sustained through, but it's getting to a point where it's do or die, right? They're about to hit level 16. They have to force some fights here, especially with the ultra starting to spawn. And if they get into double ultra spawns, that's where it gets a little hairy. You have Dahaka sharking around. You have Thrall coming in for flanks. So Team Liquid on this next ultra phase needs to be careful.
Level 16, HeroesHearth doesn't mind all that. They jump in, the early aggression
Big
on
silence.
Sport Billy. A nice silence from Stukov. The Earthquake is going to go down to heavy commitment. Sport Billy is going to get absolutely roasted by Crowan. He's hanging out in the back line, posting a Crowan W in the chat. Able to teleport away. Eternal to the next target. Rooted, deleted. 2 heroes taken down on the side of Team Liquid.
Team Liquid was not ready for that fight. They did not think that HeroesHearth would try to force a fight on level 16 talent tiers. So Arcana was in the top lane soaking, buying time. He thought he had more time until the next altar, and the fight just completely broke out. Team Liquid tried to hold on as long as they could, but Genji, being across the world, could not make it. And HeroesHearth takes away the Sappers, takes away the bell tower, and are set up to grab potentially 10 more shots on the core.
If Omen Murden jumped out of that bush, you know Variant's eyes jumped out of his skull. And this is such a beautiful moment right now for HeroesHearth Esports. You take the bottom altar. You got 2 altars available yourself. Urel still isn't back to business yet. So that's at least 1 tower or 1 altar. They could be left with 2 points in their core inside of Team Liquid.
Team Liquid has to defend these Sappers that are pushing in. HeroesHearth will be doing everything they can to get that pushing forward. Sappers in the top left do a little bit of damage, but don't quite get that forward. Team Liquid fighting in the bottom right corner, attempting to do their best here to stop the Sappers from moving in and delivering the final blow.
Sport Billy eating some damage, again getting harassed as that Variant, the root goes down. This could be it. It all very well could come down to this. Sappers get knocked back by Infernal. Do or die right now for Team Liquid. A lot of damage. Thrall is going to get deleted. Needs to reinstall the game. Urel gets taken down to 1 for 1. HeroesHearth, they're not done yet. Nurak is going to sit going way back to the cheap seats. They're not ready to go home just yet.
There's a taunt about to come up, but Sport Billy gets hit. He can't use a taunt. McIntyre turns around with the drag and pulls him underneath the bell tower. 2 fall for Team Liquid, but Team Liquid, they answer back. They get a silence as Crowan will fall.
Knockdown, drag out fight, everything on the line for Team Liquid. You see one hero get taken down, you think the team fight's over. Actually, there's another plot twist. Another hero gets taken down. Genji, Stukov jumping in. All that burst damage is going to be enough to wake Phoenix up. He'll be back in about 37 seconds. But with that kind of team fighting, Team Liquid, they only have 1 more real shot. As long as they can keep playing like that, though, I might be able to believe.
HeroesHearth versus Team Liquid, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. That is for sure here. Back and forth fights between the two, but HeroesHearth is moving on towards level 20. 1 level away, and they got a cushion for a lead here. 24-2. 1 altar will activate in the bottom corner, but it's in the worst spot for Team Liquid. But they have to all in. They have to contest this. It's game over. They had to sneak in this top left corner, but Murden loves to fight around that area. He can slow down the rotation, then give a chance for BBJ to go for the channel.
I like that you call this an M. Night Shyamalan movie because it feels like Variant's been dead pretty much the entire game. This team fight is going to decide it. Level 20 not
silent
yet. This is the last-ditch effort. Lornado's going to isolate 2 members of Team Liquid, but it's not going to be enough to set up a takedown. This is everything on the line.
But Team Liquid got in. That's all they had to do. At least they're here. And HeroesHearth, they don't want to risk throwing the game here. They're right close to level 20. That gives them, of course, their Storm talents. They can control the field. They can wait for a boss. Their opponents are still 2 levels behind. So HeroesHearth says, okay, go ahead, take a few more shots. We don't mind. We're pushing in your top lane and working on that bell tower. Team Liquid pulls away, grabs their own bell tower, and at least get back on the map. But they are fighting with barely any life left.
I love the maturity of that decision. You know, a lesser macro-inclined team would just went in, looked for that team fight, looked to get in the game right there, and given Team Liquid exactly what they were looking for. But their patience is going to pay off in the form of the Storm tier talent advantage, and then they can go for a team fight and try to make something happen. I love that choice by HeroesHearth.
Now, the other side of the coin is that you've given Team Liquid a time to get back in the game here, and it is Towers of Doom. This is where we see the most comebacks on this battleground. I mean, we always talk about it, but Dignitas versus Genji, and now we're in another scenario where Team Liquid has to make this comeback. And if they can control the map, if they can get 20 themselves, they should be fine. And they've bought enough time by getting that altar. It'll be up soon, but they should be able to soak on it up. All they have to do is make sure they don't get picked off or lose too much map control. Remember, in the top left corner, they've got that bell tower low. If they find a kill on HeroesHearth, they take the map themselves.
Very well could, but the long-range drag. McIntyre from downtown is going to be able to isolate your realm, forces out the Ardent Defender. Ishbu with the body blocks. The knockback from Eternal says not so much, but another long-range Dragon Arrow. And then the follow-up. That's a salvo. That's a dead go.
That it is. Sport Billy has a taunt up in a second, though. He can turn around and pull somebody into this tower. Can he do it? He goes for Dahaka. McIntyre gets pulled in, but able to pull away. A 5v4 setup here for HeroesHearth. And guess what? 15 seconds. One lone altar will spawn. Team Liquid will have to fight in a 4v5.
Team Liquid on their last legs. They know that they have to go for this team fight without level 20, and it's all looking to go down from here. The Lord NATO isolating Sport Billy, and it should make an easy road for BBJ to come away with this altar and keep North America's team hopes alive.
Sport Billy's trying to get in. Arcaner will dash forward. He's able to get there. 25 seconds for Urel to beat up. A Stormbolt connects on top of Sport Billy. He goes right for the taunt, and then goes straight for Crowan. Varian will fall, and Crowan survives. With no Varian on the field, they don't have an engager. Raynor also gets hit with a drag. McIntyre able to get it. Arcaner trying to buy time, but for what reason? To what end? HeroesHearth can turn around and look at the altar. They'll start the channel, and with only 2 shots left on the core, Team Liquid will fall victim to the North American team.
A bit of accidental hearth in there we saw from HeroesHearth Esports, but I love that confidence and swagger from this team. They always play Heroes of the Storm their own way, and they're going to be able to do that in day number 2 of the Western Clash. They needed to have this convincing performance to feel good about tomorrow.
I think that's a good word for it. It was convincing against Team Liquid. They had a solid Volskaya Foundry map setup. They wait till level 16 where Zeratul was able to spike up. Here on Towers of Doom, they seem to have the full map control. A couple of moments for Team Liquid where they started to mount a comeback, but HeroesHearth just came back with a full fist and delivered a punch back themselves. Looking very strong here in these 2 maps, and Team Liquid will be going home because of it. And tomorrow, I hope we see more convincing HeroesHearth play.
Every decision that gets made in one of these do-or-die situations is always going to be a point of looking back and potential regret, especially on the side of Team Liquid, especially how they've done in past offline events. The variant pick. You and I, again, we were talking about a new rack the entire time. Did that choice come back to bite? I feel like it did.
I mean, that was also really solid drafting from HeroesHearth as well. I mean, trying to go for these big line tanks. That really hasn't something we've seen in the tournament yet from anyone when it comes to draft, trying to choke out your opponent and trying to make sure that you put them in a spot where they are on the back foot. Unlucky today for Team Liquid as it didn't work out for them. Obviously, the variant pick did not work out. But for HeroesHearth, you love them coming in here, getting that draft, and taking a strategy and executing it.
I actually really like the situation for HeroesHearth Esports overall. They come into this tournament, they're the hope of NA. So much pressure put on their shoulders, and even though they said, you know, we try to just focus on ourselves and play this tournament for us, you know that had to be a factor. So you lose the leftovers in that way, but you're able to rally back against a strong team like Team Liquid. I think they've eschewed some of that pressure that they had in the beginning portions of the tournament, and now they can play at 100% tomorrow.
I mean, let's hear from HeroesHearth themselves as Jayhow is ready with Crowan at the desk.
I am here with Crow, and there was a very excited crowd here because they thought his hair was almost as tall as I am, but indeed it is not. But Crowan, today probably didn't go as expected for your team, probably a longer day than you anticipated. How was today overall for the team after that first defeat?
I mean, the first defeat was pretty rough on us. We didn't go into that series expecting to lose. So after that, just kind of taking a minute, identifying what we need to work on for the next series moving forward. Like, we're just excited to be here, and, you know, we can make the losers bracket run, so that's what we're going for.
Well, just as much as we didn't expect you to be in the lower part, most teams probably didn't expect Team Liquid. How intently were you watching those series to try and figure out and develop a plan to get to day number 2?
Yeah, so honestly, I expected Team Liquid to take the series versus Freedom earlier, but then they dropped. Freedom played really well today, so like, it's just something that we had to address right then and say, how are we preparing for this series? What is Team Liquid strong on? You know, what are we strong on? Just going and preparing and making sure that we move forward.
Well, move forward you did, Tetcher.
For starters, very impressive. Really good job. Welcome. Good job continuing on to day number 2. I just want to talk about looking ahead a bit here. Who are you potentially least looking forward to playing against in the next round?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that we can take the next round pretty much like no matter who it is if we have, you know, the good preparation and hard work leading up into it. But I don't know. We'll see.
First off, again, congratulations. My question to you is, I find HeroesHearth to be one of the more adaptable teams in North America. Do you have anything to say in regards to your guys' adaptability, where that comes from? Perhaps there's something different that your team does in comparison to other North American teams when it comes to talking about your losses. Is there any way that you can shed some light on that?
Yeah, so I think that we're really good at identifying, you know, different unique play styles. Like we recognize when they work and when they don't work, and we can adapt and flex over to whatever that we feel that we need to bring out, depending on, you know, the team, the map, whatever that it is.
Awesome, thank you.
I mean, things obviously worked out for you guys. What are the expectations for this team? Everybody has been saying North American hope, but you guys tempered a lot of those expectations when we talked to you all just the other day. Expectations at this point have to be, obviously you want that run through the lower bracket, but what are expectations for you guys? Obviously long-term BlizzCon, let's keep that in the distant, but for now, what is the goals for this team?
I mean, I think the goal for this team is we were looking at this and we want nothing less than top 3, and making it to the grand finals would be a really, really big step for us, and that's what we're aiming for.
Anything surprise you outside of today that you saw that you watched as a fan, or did you kind of have more of a different take on today just due to the fact that, you know, hey, we got to prepare for another series?
I mean, yeah, I was mostly focusing on ourselves for today, but tempo falling did surprise me a little bit. I think that that's probably the only thing, like everything else besides for the Team Liquid drop, went about as expected.
Yeah, everything today, it just seemed like everybody is behind you, the crowd here. What's it like to feel the energy of the crowd? Is obviously as the day went on, people are like, hey, I'm off work, it's Friday, I'm here. Do you get that sense of feeling that it's different for teams from North America because our Western Clashes have been in Europe? Is that a different feel for you as a team? Does that help you guys?
I know for myself, it definitely helps me. It's been a while since competed in North America in front of North American crowds, so thank you all very much for the support. It means the world, so just thank you. Appreciate it a lot.
Well, obviously, the fans will have a lot to root for as we get into day number 2, and that's going to close it out here for day number 1 as we do send another North American team over for day number 2. Make sure and tune back in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time, as we get day number 2 underway, and best of 5s are on the way as well. We'll see you tomorrow.
From the Hanzo, so not taking the risk.
Here we go. There's going to be the Dragon Arrow. The instant follow-up by Wubby has the oil down, so that slow is there. The taunt bringing in multiple members. Bud's going to be the first to fall. Massive shove is going to isolate another hero. And just like that, Dignitas doing what they do best. Raynor is up. There's going to be the tether in. Bud's trying to make room as the shield's starting to fall. Prismat Unconquered already there. Prismat's going to go down. This is going to be a wipe momentarily unless Octalysis finds a miracle to be able to walk away from this. And Wubby says it ain't happening. He's 7 seconds away from an entomb. Look for them to try and close it out.
The scroll of ceiling missed there. Justing is getting chunked out massively. Buds is also caught out. There's nothing that he can do. There is the Warlord's challenge. Buds is going to die. Everyone is dying. Team Dignitas with an incredible defense. Over the single point of contest here on the bottom side, Alter spawning in 15 seconds. And yeah, without those tools, that's huge. There's the root up on the counter. The counter engage is huge. Down goes Zeratul, down goes Greymane.
Oh, and Finn just swept through the team of Method.
Forced to jump away here, has the armor, but Bad Benny again is the point of contact here, taking so much damage, manages to dwarf toss to safety, but look at the 2 turrets of Method doing so much damage. He's in a lot of trouble, gets rooted up, Urel goes down.
He had such good management with the Sacred Ground with that level 20 movement of it, but the problem was that it got put on the conveyor belt that sent him away from the Warden's cage. Fan drops it anyway without having Urel, and now he falls too. Method getting 2 kills when they don't have 20 is huge. Now Finn is in danger, Jet Propulsion brings him down.
As much of an advantage as this is, we got what we came for. They got their Alter. Some Sappers, I believe, made it across on the bottom, maybe, because that was still pushing, so they have it. Now they're looking for more.
There's the Humble Bind. They're definitely going to target Diablo. Like,
oh, DAB.
Karash gets nuked right at the beginning of his team fight.
DAB.
He's living his life on the back line, looking for McIntyre. 2 heroes down inside of HeroesHearth, and leftovers are not done yet. Mopsio looking to turn their attention over to BBJ, who has no means of escape. He's just kind of delaying the inevitable.
Dude, DAB, I'm telling you, this guy is an absolute killer.
The shield on the core is gone though. Sportbilly is low with the boss down. This is the last ditch defense for Team Freedom. The salvo is huge though. go as Hasselhoff is diving for the core. It's the last-ditch push as Phoenix goes down.
30% on the core. Team Freedom might have this defense. Inferno, he's working on the auto attacks. Gonna have Kaluja come from the side, but Team Freedom, they actually hold 25% on the core.
And there's a Leeming on the board. Those health bars have got to stay high. That was a
Kaluja.
beautiful knockback by Lee.
He gets it.
Picks up the foul. Furion as Nasmus, though, one of the best core killers in the game, begins burning it down. They've got the lightning breath on it as well. Hanzo focusing this down. This could be it, Trick, with the upgraded lightning breath, with Nasmus tanking through everything he can. Team Freedom, they take down the core. They've done it. A drag onto Goku to prevent the chase onto his team. We see Tranquility from over the wall and Vin dropping huge amounts of damage onto Justing as a great move by Cattle, leaving over the wall to make himself a little bit safer as Zeratul trades for Deckard.
Zeratul goes down, so does Muradin, and they're trying for more. Justing is a bit low, but he has the Iron Skin and use it. Glorang is dead. It's a triple kill. Closing in, and here comes Hanzo as well. He can still fire the arrow. It's a weird move by Deadpool.
What a gorgeous Dragon Arrow completely into the choke point as Seven side it deletes Diablo again.
Here will dash forward. He's able to get there. 25 seconds for Yrel to beat up. A Stormbolt connects on top of Sportbill. He goes right for the taunt, and then goes straight for Crowan. Varian will fall, and Crowan survives. With no Varian on the field, they don't have an engager. Raider also gets hit with a drag. McIntyre able to get it. Arcane are trying to buy time, but for what reason? To what end? HeroesHearth can turn around and look at the altar.